Oh, how fabulous. Hello, and welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and in today's episode, we chat to Beth Grech. Now, that's not Gretch. It sounds like it should be, it looks like it should be Gretch, but it's Grech. Beth and I met a long time ago through school. And in fact, she has had me in to do 2 interior design jobs at her home, and I've thoroughly loved both of those projects. They were for her children's rooms, and that was a really special thing to be able to do. She is a lovely lady. She kind of works part-time, and she juggles 3 kids, and they are all doing wonderful, wonderful things. And she has all these other little stories to tell about how she gets around and what she does in her life. So I hope you enjoy Beth's story, and we'll see you after this. Welcome to How Fabulous by Toni and Co. I'm Toni, and my beautiful guest, actually, she's more than beautiful, she's fabulous. My fabulous guest today is Beth Grech. Now, you might think it's Gretch because it's a CH. It is not. We'll go into that. Beth, welcome.
Thank you, Toni. It's fabulous to be here.
Oh, I love
chatting to you.
I love that you use the word fabulous.
And just this space creates it. You create it. Ooh. I love it.
Well, we are in a very fabulous space.
We are.
This is actually the art bar, and this is it is a fabulous space. It's very colourful. This actually is handmade by one of the owners, Eddie, who's the artist who does all of this amazing painting here. So he just whipped this backdrop up for us because I said, we need somewhere to film against. And he went, for that.
As you do.
Like you would. I can't even believe it.
I love it.
I can't. So, look, Beth is a lady that I met. Well, we met sort of through being at the same school many years ago. Like a bloody long time ago now.
Yeah.
So I
can't even think that far.
Because I think that when we sort of came in, you guys are sort of moving out, so there was a really brief crossover period, but enough to be ingrained in my brain.
Absolutely, and keep in contact.
I love that.
In contact with the local community.
Exactly, because we're all locals here.
Yeah.
And so this was a long time ago. And then you guys moved on to another school, and we did keep in contact over the years. And then I ended up doing some work for you, and we'll go into that later. But I remember thinking, how does Beth handle 3 children?
I'm not sure how Beth handles 3 children.
Okay, hot tips from Beth to handle 3 children. Go. Everyone wants to know.
Learn the art of juggling.
Well, that's what you must do.
Yeah, no, that's what I do, and I love variety and I love diversity, and
because they're all different ages. I've had the pleasure to meet all 3 of them.
Yes.
And your eldest now is a boy.
16.
That feels actually.
Whereas when we first met, he was probably so high.
And so Jack would have been like, he had that big blazer, and he was sort of swimming in it, and there was that. And then your middle girl, she is, sort of. I feel like she's like a 15 now or something.
Nearly, yeah.
And then you got little baby Kirili.
Yeah. Still my baby. Still the baby.
Yeah. So here you are, a mum of 3, juggling, and they're all very skilled at what they do. So they have lots of extracurricular kind of stuff going on. So you juggle that with being working with your husband, who is a psychologist.
Yes.
That's pretty serious stuff. I love that. He would have been so busy over COVID.
Very busy. Very busy. Been away, silver lining, because some good things came out of that. Yeah. In particular with telehealth for psychologists. So that's something that they've been campaigning for a while pre-COVID.
So that wasn't. What was that?
I don't know. A ring.
So that wasn't around before COVID. Then that doesn't even make sense now when you think about it. You know what?
Exactly. So that was something, I guess, good to come out of COVID for mental health.
Yep.
And also under Medicare, they allowed some extra sessions for people struggling with COVID. So again, a silver lining
Wow. So when COVID was on, so you were working for him as well as the schooling 3 children who needed, oh my gosh.
And trying to support the Wi-Fi in our house.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that because ours was really under pressure as well.
Yes, so was ours, but you can only do what you can do.
Ours nearly snapped.
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, we all nearly got divorced and
absolutely.
nearly never talked to each other again.
And we had everyone in different rooms, so no one could breathe on each other or hear the other one's shoe or, you know, so.
But imagine working, say, full-time, like you're always a full-time mum, because that is just the most underrated job, unpaid job ever. But there's another whole story about that. But imagine if you had to do a 9 to 5-er during that time, and then actually schooling and overseeing the children, plus doing the work for your overworked husband as well.
Yeah,
like that would have been a lot, and a lot of people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think though a lot of the schools did really well. Running the classes online, flexibility working from home, but it doesn't mean you're not working from home, but it just meant I could kind of monitor my day, and where particularly the youngest one needed some help, I could help her out and then get back to work. So it certainly, working from home gave a bit of flexibility during COVID, but there were definitely their challenges.
Look, you came out the other end smelling like roses.
Absolutely, and let's hope it doesn't happen again.
Yes, no, let's hope that this winter is okay.
Yeah.
And so one thing I one thing I noticed about, because we're on Facebook, and I noticed that outside of all these other things, you should be a tour manager for bands and entertainment, and because you've got the most colourful page, and you've gone to see everybody that comes to Melbourne. I love it. What's that all about?
Do you know what? I think my philosophy in life is just grab the opportunities and grab the experience. I'm more an experienced girl, so I kind of put everything that goes into my bucket would be about experiences. So, and I love music, and I have no training, no formal qualification. I just love how music makes me feel. I love the memories it creates, and I love hearing live music. So
nothing beats live music, does it?
Yeah, so that's something I've missed, but at the same time I'm extremely grateful for what I have been able to see. Yeah. And what better place than Melbourne? I feel like we get all the acts.
Well, and, we do. We do. And we've got so many venues to be able to see that. Yeah. You know, big venues as well as little pubby kind of venues. Absolutely. And actually what came up talking about Facebook and social media today was 5 years ago was Prince, and I was lucky to see him at the Melbourne Arts Centre just over 5 years ago. Was he amazing?
He was amazing, and it was just him and a piano, nothing else, no band, no backing, and then that was the last time he toured. And that popped up on my memory today.
My gosh. Did you know he was only going to be on a piano though?
Yes. So we knew it was going to be very intimate and at the Melbourne Arts Centre. Yeah,
it's quite a different
feel. So I've been to a Rod Laver concert of his as well, with all the backing girls, which is fantastic. So there's Beth going
to see Prince twice.
So very grateful.
And and you saw Elton John as well?
I've seen Elton John.
Name me go 10 people that you've seen.
10 people that I've seen.
Kylie, you would have seen Kylie.
Seen Kylie. Pink, seen Pink a few times, as everyone has.
I haven't seen Pink a few times. I haven't seen it once. Oh my God, I'm so old fart.
And then I like a bit of rock, so I've seen Foo Fighters as well.
Oh my God, Foo Fighters. What were they like? Was he
brilliant,
just amazing?
Brilliant, but they were in a big stadium. I would love to also experience them in a smaller setting as well. So I'll work on that one.
Yes.
But the beauty of having children is I can also pass on my love to them with live music, and we've been fortunate enough to take the girls to see Katy Perry, who does a fantastic
she would have been amazing.
Taylor Swift. And I was very lucky to get tickets with Chelsea for Billie Eilish. And at the time, I didn't even know who Billie Eilish was.
How long ago was that?
Oh, she toured, it was April, I'm going to say 2 years ago. I don't know, I lose track because COVID throws everything out.
Because you've signed so many people.
But at the
as
time,
well.
Chelsea was like, Mum, can you get me tickets to Billie Eilish? It's next week. I don't know what Billie Eilish is.
Who is this Billie Eilish
Right, correct.
person?
And then everyone that does know Billie Eilish laughed at me and said, you needed to get tickets 12 months ago, not the week before, da-da-da. And so I said to Chelsea, sorry, I can't. The day of her concert, they released side tickets, which is my little trick.
What does that even mean?
Okay, so that means you see the stage from the side, but very close.
But that's okay.
So that is fabulous.
Oh my gosh.
That is fabulous.
It is. That's so fabulous.
So that I scored big brownie points for that one.
So you were the best mother ever, rock star, amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
Well, that would have been really, that's a really special thing to be able to go somewhere with your child, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
and share that moment. And again, that's another amazing memory. She won't forget. I won't forget.
I remember we took. I think I feel like I've been to some live music years ago. I went to see Live.
Yes, I've seen
and he
Live.
was really cool.
Yep.
And I have a CD cover with that.
Yes.
I had a friend at Rip It Up and I said, can you take my CD cover and get a
Yeah.
So he did.
Yeah.
But we took more recently, when I say more recently, it was quite a few years ago, Jack to see, it was 3 years ago, to see Aha and Rick Astley.
Now that was on my to-do list, and I didn't get there. That
Well,
would be amazing.
Do you know what? Aha, look, it was okay.
Yeah,
They were the main kind of act.
Yeah.
And then and they started out with what's the song?
Take on me.
Take on me. There it is. Take on me. Yeah, they're one hit.
Yeah.
So they did that, and everyone's like, "Wow, that's amazing!"
Yeah.
And then
That's it.
we all just went,
yeah.
What's that?
And I think that's what I thought.
But see, Rick came out before.
Yeah.
And he is, I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah.
He was an entertainer. Not only did we know all the songs, even his newer songs that he really got into were fantastic, but it was his stage presence, you know, and like we were flipping right at the back of, I can't even remember where it was, but it was amazing. And I thought, you, sir, have your shit together and you know how to, you know, really engage every single person, because I feel like he was singing to me.
Yeah, he was.
Probably.
I'm sure.
Babe, do you think he's singing to me? Because I feel like it's eyeballs. I mean, I can't really see that well, but that's how it is. And Jack loved it. But then, then when Aha came on, we sort of just went.
Happens.
And then we did the old, well, should we leave now so we can get the car out of the car park?
Yes.
Which
Not
if
a good sign.
If you were really into it, you probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that at a concert?
Have I done that at a concert?
You don't have
Not
to know
at
the
a
person.
concert. No, there is one. Yeah, there is one I can think of. And I felt very old. It was like a teeny. No, it was one of those R&B. Eddie had.
Yeah.
And again, we'd seen the acts that we wanted to see, and the top act we didn't really care for, and we went, there's like 20,000 people
the
here.
Car, we're just going to get the car now. It looks like it's going to rain,
That's
so we're going to head out.
But we saw who we wanted to see, so that's all. That's all
fantastic.
that
So, do you keep all your stubs as well?
I do.
I bet you do. Yeah.
I do. I've got my wristbands, stubs, what have you. And again, the beauty of social media now is the memories pop up.
Yeah.
And you can just click on it. And not everyone likes to do it, but I do like to take videos if I can at a concert.
Oh, I think so.
Just to replay them and,
and just remember that time.
Exactly.
The thing with music though is that it really, it's great to listen to, and it's the music, and you appreciate the writing and the producing and the all that kind of stuff, the composing. But music, you don't have to know the words, or you don't have to know the music, but you remember the words to take you back somewhere.
Absolutely.
So it's a feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. And
music
it stays with
feeling.
you forever.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a song from 30 years ago.
I know. Okay, so I'll say one. Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares to You.
And do you know who wrote that?
Prince.
Yes.
There it is,
there
right
you go.
there. There it is, yeah.
There you go.
But that always takes me back to 1987.
Yeah.
And, 1988. And breaking up with one of my first boyfriends and going,
I think it's one of those songs where everyone knows.
Cringe.
I think it's one of those songs that came out and everyone knows where they were. When it came out.
Because it's a feeling. It will always take me back there. And now I laugh at it.
Yeah.
But for many years it was quite painful.
Don't play it.
Don't play it. It's not too emotional. It makes me feel sad.
Yeah.
And then, that was young love. So what was I, 13 or something crazy?
Yeah.
So you're going to, now that COVID's, it's still here obviously, but we're sort of a bit more free.
Yes.
You're going to be getting back into the groove of live music and...
that's the plan.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's starting to happen. I've got some shows booked and I like theatre as well.
Oh,
again,
fantastic. Yes.
no training whatsoever, and I think I prefer to be behind the scenes anyway, but I've got some shows booked which makes it feel more normal. So we're off to see Moulin Rouge later in the year, which I'm really looking forward to.
Mad for it. Where are they playing?
Could be Regent in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think that would be fantastic.
But I love the big razzle-dazzle jazz hands, so
same,
we've got that.
Same.
And finally getting to see Harry Potter. That was something we had booked for last year that got turned to COVID, so finally getting there.
Fantastic. We were going to have someone in from Harry Potter, and unfortunately their PR people said no.
Oh,
and so that was it. That was the end of it. Oh, it's such a shame. But anyway,
let me go
maybe
talk
next
to them
time.
when I see them in a couple of weeks.
Maybe next time, because it's such. I would still go and see the show though. Like, I think it's an epic.
I'm really looking forward.
Epic sort of production, and just with all those sorts of things, you would go there with the eyes of, not only listen, like all your senses are going, aren't they? You're looking at it. And for me, I appreciate production design and the costumes and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But again, you go there for a feeling.
Absolutely.
That experience.
That's right. That's it. So all these experiences are coming back now, so it feels exciting.
Well, and look at another thing that you also do that I noticed is that you are a big traveller.
I am.
And you were before COVID.
Yes.
So, have you been all over the world, Beth?
No. I actually wanted to be an air hostess. So that was what I wanted to be growing up.
Really?
But then I can hear my parents.
I think everyone...
there's no...
a lot of people do.
Stable... So I didn't become an air hostess. I decided to just travel when I could. Yeah. But I am born and bred in Melbourne and have always lived in Melbourne.
Always beachside or...?
No. So I grew up like eastern suburbs. But always loved the beach. So holidays were beach, and I used to think, why save the beach for holidays? Why not live by the beach?
Yeah.
So I always knew I would live bayside.
There was a calling.
There was a calling, and here we are. So travel. So just through, I've been fortunate through work. I've been able to do a bit of travel pre-kids. A lot of family overseas, and really any excuse to travel, and it doesn't have to be anywhere amazing. I just love traveling and absorbing the culture, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy or
I agree.
So
I think that's an important thing, because travel again is about the experience and not just getting there and being there, because I often find when I travel it's hindsight that reminds me of how wonderful it was, and what and it takes me a little while to sort of process it, because sometimes when you're in the guts of travelling, you go,
it can be crazy busy,
and I'm a little bit overwhelmed because there's a lot, and then when you come back you have a chance to be out of the craziness, even though the craziness is good but it's sometimes bad. Then you can really reflect and pick what you want out of it. Do you find that, or do...
Absolutely. Whether it's a crazy experience or, a great experience, a not so great experience, they're all memories and just all something to reflect on. And it also makes you appreciate what you've got back home as well. Like, it's nice to come home to a nice base.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It's nice to launch.
It is. I think travel is... Actually, I didn't travel a lot when I was younger. But when I met Phil, my husband, we started travelling pretty much straight away. And that was a really wonderful experience. And we've been lucky enough to travel with Jack. And, travelling with one is great. But Hanging time with Toni.
Oh, that's interesting. It gets easier as they get older.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. It gets easier as they get older.
Yeah, because there's not so much stuff. And then do you say pack yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now we do. Yeah. But when they're young, you kind of gravitate. Well, I did. I gravitated to the countries that I knew that would just make my life easy. So I'm talking like Fiji, Bali,
Thailand.
Yes.
Okay, so is that why so many families go there?
Absolutely. So, but now that the kids are, in high school, when we can travel again, well, looking within Australia for now, but looking at different holidays. So we're looking at the Northern Territory now.
So like more camping kind of?
No.
No, Beth loves the resort.
No, you won't see Beth camping. But probably
glamping.
Possibly glamping.
Glamping.
Yeah.
There's a nice one at Dale Street.
And I think there's some power that I can connect into.
Yeah, but not camping. So we're not going to
have my own bathroom and
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
What about a houseboat? Would you do a houseboat?
I would do a houseboat. Absolutely.
We're going on a houseboat soon.
Yeah, I would do. That was actually. We had that kind of in the plans for 2020.
Last year, yes. And that was the end of that.
That was the end of that. Friends have a houseboat at Ilden.
They own a houseboat. Shut up.
It's better than my house. So definitely houseboat.
Yeah, the swanky.
Yeah. So that will be on my to-do list as well. There's so many opportunities within Australia. Like I'm actually really excited what the next maybe 12, 18 months hold for travel.
Yeah.
Just within
Australia. And this is the thing, you're talking about a silver lining with your husband's work and your work, but with travelling as well and people experiencing our beautiful country here.
Absolutely.
And not feeling like you've got to go away. And it was the same. I think bring it down to a more community based. We were all, when that 5K rule came in, we had to eat locally. We had to do everything. So it sort of got downsized,
and still finding hidden gems in your 5K that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Whether it's cafes or a park or a little pocket of a beach
or walking route or something like that.
I don't think I've ever walked so much as when we were in lockdown.
I was just walking all the time.
And the irony is now I'm too busy to walk.
I think probably a lot of people have done that. They've said, I did that. I started running over COVID.
Yep.
And I'm not running nearly as much because now that I can, I don't. It's really strange how we do that, but I love that. It'll be great for the economy when we can travel overseas. But for the meantime, it is really exciting to be able to go to regional Victoria and interstate. And we just recently went to Sydney. You just came back from
Central Coast to visit family. But even over Christmas, we went up to Echuca. Never been on my radar before. Haven't been there since I was a little girl.
Stop it.
Loved it.
Yeah. Because Echuca.
Yeah.
Echuca. Yeah. We used to go camping on the river by Toronto Weir.
Perfect. So again, that wouldn't have been on my radar if not for COVID.
Thanks, COVID.
And had a ball. Kids loved it. Something for everyone.
Do you think that the children, your kids anyway, love travelling locally more than they do overseas, or do they like that whole plane?
I think it depends what the destination is.
Yeah, right.
It can be. But as I mentioned before, we just came back from the Central Coast, and that was a car trip. That's probably the longest car ride the 5 of us have done.
You have a little bit of a pain look when you do that, Beth.
It was
a good bad trip.
It's good. We did it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Netflix and downloads. No, but I wouldn't have entertained doing a 10.5-hour car ride with those.
With the little cubs in tow.
Yeah.
But you're right, it does make you, travelling away makes you appreciate your own home.
Yes.
More.
Yes, absolutely.
And your own sheets and your own towels.
Absolutely.
And being able to get up and do whatever you want to do. And I think one of the jobs I did for you, so Beth employed me to help, make over a couple of your rooms. Yes. And we did that in between that first and second COVID kind of lockdown thing.
How lucky were we?
We were so lucky,
Yeah.
because that was a real sort of, is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? And I felt really happy about that, because I knew that Zach was going to sort of, then be able to be in his little room cocoon.
He had the most amazing space. It was, in a way, the best timing, because it had been on our to-do list for so long, and like everything.
And we always put things off until
absolutely. And then we'd penciled it in, and then the first lockdown happened, and we weren't quite sure. We were coming out of it, weren't quite sure what was happening, so we went, okay. And you caught up with Zach and chatted about the space that he wanted, what he was looking for as a teenager, a high schooler, friends over, study, and you and your team managed to get all of that done during the few weeks we had open.
It was only 3 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then we went back into lockdown, and I just remember thinking how grateful Zach to have that space as a 15-year-old boy, and unbeknownst to us, it was quite a few months of lockdown.
Yeah.
But to have that special room where not only was it, for schooling, but for sleeping, for relaxing. For catching up with, on the iPad, and it's been a great space.
Yeah, and I think over COVID we all kind of started to look at our spaces differently as well. Like you with 3 children had to, negotiate your whole house, but then go, we've got to do everything in here.
Absolutely.
How are you going to do that? And probably everyone looked to you and goes, Mum,
absolutely.
Tell us how to.
But also, I think for my family in particular, because we're quite busy, home was often just a place where you rest your head, and whereas now
Beth has got the most overachieving children, beautiful children. One is like going to be, you watch, he will be playing for Australia, Cricket Australia. I don't even know what it's called, because I'm not a really sporty you can tell I'm not sporty, but it's a big thing in cricket that he's very, very good, and he's at state level now already. Is that right?
Yeah, he enjoys his cricket.
When I went into his room, he had about 67 cricket bats and all these, he plays for all these people, and it's amazing.
Yes, but that's all gone now.
I know, that's all gone.
We're not tripping over it.
But it was there, like this is his stuff, and then the other girls, they do calisthenics and dancing, so they're on the move and active. So how did that all kind of work out when you had to not go anywhere?
I think my car wondered what happened to me. I didn't
you weren't the taxi.
I wasn't the taxi. I had all this free time, which was really good. I think with the girls, with their dance, that was quite good, because that was able to continue over Zoom. Sport was a little different.
Who would have ever thought that?
I know. Who thought you'd be dancing in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Sport was a little bit different. They were certainly checking in, probably more on the mental health, but in terms of actual, you were very restricted with what you could do. But we set up a little ended up getting a home workout area, which we wouldn't have done if it wasn't for COVID.
Like a gym kind of a thing?
Yeah, so we got I don't know what they're called, the bench press and all of that, and the rowing machine, and
fabulous.
So
I think a few people did that. Stuff that they would normally never have done. So that's a thing. But look, I mean, and this is something I don't know and I've wanted to ask. How did you like when you were growing up, you said that you wanted to be an air hostess. So what happened when you left school?
When I left school,
so you travelled?
Well, I went to uni, studied commerce, and actually my first real job was working with the Transport Accident Commission. So
my
TAC.
Goodness, TAC.
Yeah, so working in their research area. So looking at the statistics. So I did that for a number of years, working in the city. And then I had a slight change. I still loved the commerce area, but I went and did a postgrad in property valuations and worked for a couple of property developers. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. So I loved the Collins Street, CBD. And then kids came along, and the workplace was great. Juggling part-time and having a young child in childcare, But Paul was venturing out into his private practice at the time, and I was racing to get home from the city to pick up childcare. I juggled it for 12 months, but when child number 2, Chelsea, came along, I kind of went.
I would have. How do women possibly cope with that?
It was a bit of a.
Unless you have 2 nannies, potentially.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
And a cook and someone that does the washing and the cleaning and the
that's right.
But then you can do it.
Then you can do it.
Yeah, it's easy.
So then after Chelsea arrived, decided I'd say goodbye to CBD corporate life.
Yeah.
And
Wise move there.
And say hello. Yeah. Paul's private practice was increasing, and just from an admin point of view, I was able to help at home.
You could do that blindfolded.
Absolutely, in my trackies.
Trackies.
So it actually was a really, really good balance, and then it gave me time to be with the children as well.
Yeah. And so, that's a really lovely thing to be able to do.
I haven't left. I'm still there, watching the practice grow.
But I think if you ever decided that you were going to do something that didn't, like outside the family business, you should do like tours of, or do something and travel.
Yeah, I've thought about that.
Experience,
I've thought about that.
Yes, that's what you should do.
Yeah,
I've never known someone. I know I keep going on about it, but it just surprised. Every time I see your feet, I'm like, oh, she's gone too. And I'm like, oh, what's that like? What's that like?
Do you know what? I think
love it. I love
it's also part of Paul. Paul's very spontaneous. So that rubs off on me as well.
That's great.
So he's just like, don't even think about it. Like,
that's so cool.
I'll be like, oh, cheap airfares to Hawaii. He's like, just do it.
You remind me of a friend of mine who is very much like that.
Yeah.
And she's so across where to go and what to do, and she's very spontaneous in the nature of how she will book things and do things.
Yeah.
And it'll just come up.
Because you can find a million reasons why not to. So instead of saying, why are you doing that? I just say, why not?
Yeah, right. And so when you were young, did you ever do anything, no, not young, you're still young, but when you were younger, did you ever do anything crazy and spontaneous, say in New York? Or anything like that?
I have a story for you.
Oh, I love this story.
So this was in New York. Paul and I were there. We'd been travelling for about 6 weeks.
So this is pre-babies?
This is pre-babies. We were travelling there. Paul was doing some research at uni, so he was doing a speech. And that was down in Baltimore. And we decided to make it a big East Coast. Why not if we're going there?
Yeah, you've got to go to
New York. New York was our last stop, and we had 10 days there. And
oh gosh!
But it was the end of our 6 or 7 week trip, and one's still a uni student. One, we're kind of running out of money and what have you, and getting sick of living in backpackers. But anyway, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, how it always works out. And this is 2000. So there's no social media, there's no smartphones.
So you went without a phone?
Oh no, we had like a mobile phone which you used as a phone.
As a phone, but nothing else.
Nothing else.
Camera,
no camera. I was using the digital camera.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the digital camera. Yes.
But a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend said, I know someone who lives in New York. You should catch up with them. And so we, dialed the number, caught up, and this friend of a friend of a friend of a friend said, I've got 2 tickets to a party. But it's invitation only, ticket only, and there were obviously 3 of us, the friend and Paul and myself. But you only had 2 tickets.
So you're like, see you, Paul?
Oh yeah, so Paul said...
Oh, you did?
I'm like, I'm going.
It's New York.
Paul said, and it was at the Copacabana nightclub. We didn't know what party, who it was, we just knew, I've got 2 tickets to a party tonight.
Oh my gracious.
As if you were going to say no.
I know, I don't care. I'll just be there.
Paul said to me, you take the ticket.
Oh, bless him.
Don't worry, I'll get in.
Okay, right.
So we arrive, there's a big queue to get in, there's press. It was late August, so it was hot summer.
Spaghetti straps.
Absolutely, sunburn. Anyway.
And was your hair in twists? Because that was really mad.
That was,
in the early 2000s.
I just remember lots of floral, big floral patterns. And there was a big queue. I didn't know what was going on, where we were going, who we were seeing. But Paul said, you go in. Give me 5 or 10 minutes and I'll meet you just inside.
I love his gumption.
Oh.
I love Paul's gumption.
So in we go, hand over our tickets. And so I just kind of go, and I'm thinking, I have no idea. Like, it's security, it's the press. Anyway, 5 minutes pass and Paul walks in with this big tripod camera, what have you. And I'm like, okay. And then he sits there for a minute, and then a couple of minutes pass and he turns around and I see him handing back all the camera gear to some guy that I don't know.
Oh my God. Yes.
So
what a superstar.
I know. So it turns out we were at the 50th birthday of Isaac Hayes, who is also known as Chef from South Park.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, yes.
And so they were,
Because South Park would have
was
been
really
Trey Parker.
big.
Yeah.
Really big.
Please tell me you met them.
Just to name drop some people: Wesley Snipes, Shaka Khan, Jamie Foxx. There were so many boxers. Paul knew more about them. Joe Frazier. But it was a who's who in the world of Isaac Hayes.
And you didn't even have your digital camera.
This little blonde girl that's sunburnt in a florally dress.
From Australia?
From Australia. But how Paul got in, how did Paul get in? So he picked up that there were a lot of newspapers, reporters, what have you, and in his very Aussie accent, asked politely to borrow this Frenchman's camera and said, I will give it back to you in 5 minutes. Proceeded to walk up to the gate, gave his name. He said, da, 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 and he said, I'm named
from
an
Australia.
Correct.
I'm from the whatever news.
It
that's
is
American.
Australian. Yeah,
in
it is Australian.
Yeah,
I've flown all this way, and they said, your name's not on the list. And so I went, how can it not be on the list?
I'm from Australia.
I've flown all this way, Sydney to New York, I can't believe it, blah, 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 da, 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 da. Terribly sorry, sir, terribly sorry, blah, 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 blah. Off he goes.
Do you know what?
And that is Paul.
Do you know what? That's not how, well, I hardly know him, but he's just gone up 17 notches in my head right now.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's Paul.
What a legend.
So, so in he went.
How's that French dude, though? Just going, have my camera. I'm just going to...
Paul has a way. Paul has a way. I'll give you another example. We talked about going away for Christmas, New Year.
That's it. That's awesome.
Couldn't get the booking I wanted for the days that I wanted. And I just said to Paul, I want 5 days here, make it work. And he just goes away and makes it work.
Because is it a psychologist?
I don't know what it is.
Is he a magician?
Yeah.
I feel like he's a magician.
Magic.
He's like a poof.
Yeah. So that was our New York story.
Oh my goodness. And did you actually get to actually talk to, say, Wesley or anybody? Or
Wesley was the only one that was off limits.
Oh, was there like a rope? Because sometimes they have
there
a rope.
were bouncers. I don't know what they called them.
People.
There were people. So, and at that time, he was probably the most high-profile guest.
Yeah, because he would have been on. Oh, I can't even remember. But all sorts of like early 2000s.
There were basketballers. There were all and
cool.
Listening to Shaka Khan sing was amazing. Yeah.
Look at
it was
you.
brilliant.
And now here you are, back in Melbourne. 3 children, just, enjoying it. And that's my New York story.
That's my New York story.
I love that story. That is fantastic. Yeah. And this is the thing. This is what I love about talking to all these fabulous people that come on. How fabulous. From all walks of life, doing lots and lots of different things. Everyone's got so much more than what we see on the outside or what we know. Like, I thought you were very fabulous anyway, even without your New York story and without Paul. And Paul,
you could do one on Paul, and he could give you some fabulous stories.
Amazing. But just all the stuff that you've done, before kids and the traveling and the way you just kind of get yourself through life and still, your children are testament to that. The fact that they're out there just doing all these wonderful things. And I've met your children. They're very lovely, lovely children. Very polite. And Zach's lovely. I mean, the girls are lovely, absolutely, without question. And Carolee's quite cheeky and gorgeous. But Zach is a really lovely man and comes across as, you know,
Thank
being
you.
quite sensitive and so polite. And I remember his face when he came into the. I feel like no, stop! I'm not going to. You're quiet. Shut up. Shut up. And his little face, and that is a beautiful thing. He wasn't afraid to feel the appreciation. You know, to be appreciative and to feel. Is it the popo? What's going on outside? Hello, everything back in a two. I don't know.
We heard your Australian story.
Yeah, that's right.
New York story.
And actually, we heard that you stole something. And he wasn't afraid to, you know, to present himself as that. And I think that's a really, you know, testament to you and Paul to bring your son up like that, to be like that in front of me, a stranger. And I just went, damn, I'm real impressed. I'm real impressed.
Thank you,
yes, Toni.
I am. Thank you. Stop it.
And look, maybe we can get you back on again.
Yes.
And after maybe we can get you in to do some reviews.
Absolutely.
Some music reviews, because
I'd
you're
love
the lady.
Some music reviews, maybe some hotel or holiday destination reviews.
No, maybe you can be my travel correspondent.
I would love to.
Okay, write that down. We've got a travel correspondent on board now, Beth.
Thank you.
You might have to cut your hours working for Paul, but that's okay.
I
It's
can
better
do
working
that.
here anyway.
Absolutely.
I'd love it because I would imagine you'd throw yourself right into it and give us all the hot little tips and tricks.
Yeah, you should. When I am planning something, I've got like 5 different screens. But always word of mouth is best, as you would know with anything in life.
For sure.
If you want to go somewhere, you just put it out on social media and.
It's the way it is now. It's the way. But yes, okay, so I'm going to hold you to that. So from now on, if we've got some live theatre or music reviews or little travel reviews, we'll get Beth back on. I'm loving that. See, I love how the world works, and I love how Fabulous works. It's just connecting all these lovely people. So thank you so much, Beth. It's a pleasure having you on here.
It has been so much fun chatting to you, Toni. We must do it again.
Yes, we will.
And then I think now we hit to the bar.
Yes, the bar. We're going to the bar.